Hi guys, thanks for taking a few seconds out to listen to this video. It's a very short one. I'm just appealing really to expats. Any expats out there who feel like they need a bit of help or a bit of a leading hand, if you like, in trading or investment, or if they've got some stocks which they can't sell, or things that are hard to move, or they've lost touch with their broker maybe, they've lost the contact details, they can't find their share certificates, or whatever it is. Drop us a line. We're actually pretty flexible and we've got a great database we're building now, and I'm very keen to expand on this database because I'm getting a lot of information and you guys have been a massive help. You're giving us information on positions, stocks and holdings which we weren't aware of, and there's some good deals to be done in terms of switches, absorbing negative positions, exchanging those positions, and also there's a number of private equity companies we do business with are very keen to acquire that stock and take those domains and those shell companies and repackage them, which is what often happens. Now, that if you're not aware, and I know a lot of young viewers are quite young, during the early 2000s, 2005 especially, 2008, those 3 or 4 year windows, there was a big Chinese IPO boom, initial public offering boom. It was where a lot of Chinese companies were listing their companies on American stock exchanges. Let's just talk about names like Alibaba. You know, there was one name to throw in. It became absolutely huge. And you know what? A lot of people made an awful lot of money on those IPOs and pre-IPOs. They started off as private placements, and just grew. And you know, I guess a lot of it was because of all the media. It was a very media driven frenzy, and I say that because it wasn't, if we look at where we are now, 2026, this is April, May 2026, the smartphone hasn't really been what it is now for more than about 6 or 7 years. So go back to pre-2000, pre-COVID if you like, and the smartphone was gathering pace a few years before that. But now everything's designed for smartphone and apps. So the people that were involved in trading and investment were largely using laptops. And the reason I say that is it's very different because people don't carry a laptop around open all the time. Now, you know, messages, etc. Sure, you can get messages and you can email response very quickly, but what I'm saying is now you've got an open gadget in your pocket, in your hand usually, which indicates immediately, you know, what's coming in, what's going out. Even, you know, banking changes can be beeped straight away. Information comes immediately. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, with the way the markets are working now, it's become also very media driven. I'm trying not to lose track here because there's a point I'm trying to make, which is if you can maintain focus on trading with private equity, and you're not distracted by all the other things on your phone, then you'll do very, very well, because the IPO market is coming back, and the roller coaster we've got right now on the stock exchanges is really very, very difficult to manage. I trade every day, I'm looking every day, I wake up, you know, during the night 2 times just to check what's happening in America, because I'm on the other side of the world right now. And I'm telling you, it's not easy to see what's going to happen. I'm always ready to trade out within the first 30 minutes of the market opening, because as soon as the market opens now, there's normally very little change. And mark my words on this, you need to wait about 30 to 40 minutes before you actually start to see the numbers move and gather momentum. Okay? Now, after that, you'll start to see a very real picture quite quickly. Later on in the trading session, it settles down. You think about it, it's lunchtime in New York, later on, about 2 or 3 hours later. And then it gathers momentum again in New York later in that day. That's where all the big money's moving. And then towards the end of the day, right towards the end, that's when you've got to be on your feet, because that's the time. It's either time to buy more, ready for the next day, or time to bail out and sell. Now, I used to just let things roll. Let them be. But now you can't, because it used to only be half a point or 1 point movements, maybe 1.2%, 1.5%. But now you're getting 5 or 6% movements when the thing closes. Well, that's a heck of a lot if you've just made 3% and it's going to close 5% down. So you've got to be very, very careful. And the reason I say that is you need to set your alarms in place, your stop losses, state your minimums in place on your phone or your laptop. It's very, very important to do these things, because if you don't wake up, or you're not on New York time, you're in another country, of course, and you're asleep. I mean, it's perfectly natural. People do sleep. You can miss out a lot. It happened to me quite recently with Broadcom, and the bloody thing crashed, and I lost $8,000 just because I didn't wake up to sell, and I didn't set my stop loss in place. I had just bought a new phone. I didn't put all the settings on, and I lost out. A lesson learned. So you've got to be very, very careful. Now, the other thing is, you need to watch things like, the financial news. Make sure that what you're watching is from a good source. I can recommend the Financial Times, ft.com. It's a very, very good source of financial information. But be very, very careful indeed not to take information or advice from the browsers. Google, Yahoo, MSN. Here's why. Simple. They're pumping and dumping. I'm not going to make that accusation and say I know for sure. I don't know for sure. But I've done a fair bit of research on this, and I can tell you for sure, from my point of view, I see a repeat of the same thing over and over again. Things like suggesting, where will Micron be in 5 years' time? Have you bought Micron? Do you own Micron? This so-and-so broker has just bought Micron, $3 billion worth, blah, blah, blah. It's highly speculative news. There's absolutely no contract that is true. And there's a lot of disclaimers. If you look at the small print on the internet, whatever it is, whatever information you get, it will be disclaimed, all right? And the same thing goes for some of these websites like Motley Fool that are looking for you to spend money every month. Now, we're creating a new program which is going to be literally $10 a month, $10 US a month, and we're going to give you 3 really good tips every month that we know will make you money. It's going to be a subscription only basis. It's a personal basis. You can speak to me or you can speak to one of my team directly. We don't use bots or apps. You can speak to us directly and we will email you out those 3. So it's going to be $10 a month on a subscription, minimum 6 months. Okay? We will help you make money in the markets. So if you don't want the roller coaster of everyday trading, stabilize yourself. We'll give you some really, really good tips. And look, at the end of the day, this isn't horse racing. This is done on research and experience. I've been doing this for 29 years now. Okay, I had brown hair and I was half the weight when I started.